and we'll be getting underway. Expect each side to be courteous with one another. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes, Your
Yes.
Honor.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we're live. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons having anything to do before the Honorable, the single justice of the Massachusetts Appeals Court, now sitting virtually within and for the Commonwealth, draw near and give your attention, and you shall be heard. God is open. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Court is open. The first case is 2022 J0096, Watermark LI Member LLC versus Stella Kim and another.
And in this case, the other is Mr. Justin Huang. Okay. Ms. Kim, I'll hear you.
This is my position. I'm asking the Massachusetts Appeals Court to waive the appeal bond of $63,642. I cannot afford the $63,642 from my $1,000 gross income per month. This appeal will be dismissed if I cannot pay the $63,642. It is not fair. It is not just that I cannot proceed with the appeal bond because I have an excessive judgment against me by Judge Joseph Kelleher. Not only did Judge Joseph Kelleher not listen to me, but he also set me up and steered me to fail. Judge Joseph Kelleher did not even mention the black mold in my studio or the disruptive neighbor. The Judge Joseph Kelleher covered for the plaintiff, Watermark, and the plaintiff's attorney, Stephen Skolnick and Vladimir Neshep from SLG Legal Group and their fraudulently constructed ledger. I attached the ledgers.
Let me ask you a couple of questions, okay, Ms. Kim? First of all,
Yes.
when you had the trial in front of Judge Kelleher, did you make any?
I cannot hear you. I'm sorry. I cannot hear you. Can you repeat that again?
Sure. When you had the trial in front of Judge Kelleher, did you make any, offer any evidence with respect to the neighbor that you're now speaking of or the mold?
Yes, I show him the mold, the black mold. What the attorney Neshep said, I'm not an expert. I don't have an expert witness. All the lawyers said, I see black mold, no question about it. So he didn't even, Judge Joseph Kelleher did not even mention in his judgment.
And what about the neighbor? Did you offer any evidence with respect to some disruptive neighbor that I just heard you mention?
The neighbor is, I complain about the neighbor so many times, and she's fighting with everybody, but unfortunately she's not normal. So I spend a lot of time testifying. So she's fighting with the people, and then especially when the COVID hit, all the students left. It was almost like empty, this apartment, and it was very scary because she lives next to me. She lives in 706. I live in 704. Both of us are the only one in this area, and he didn't even mention about it.
Okay.
It's in the recording or audios.
Okay. Now, I heard you say that you had some questions or you disputed the ledgers that Attorney Neshep offered. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, do you agree that you're behind in your rent?
Yes.
How much behind
I
do you
offer
think?
the money.
How much behind do you think, Ms. Kim?
At
How much?
that time,
Ms. Kim, how much behind do you think you are behind in rent?
at that time in November, 21,760, and I offered them the money. Mr. Attorney Nashep denied to accepting the money, and now I know why he didn't accept the money. It's in the May hearing, and he said that he didn't accept it, or something like in that line. He mentioned it with the in the May hearing in 2021. I offered the money to move out. I hired the attorney to move out, and he didn't even spend 1 minute for mediation, for the I think a government scheduled that kind of a mediation. And
hold
then
on 1 second. Hold on. Let me interrupt you so I understand. Did you say you offered to move out? Is that what I heard you say?
Yes.
Okay. And have you moved out?
No. Attorney after attorney asked me to stay. They're gonna negotiate out. Housing court recommend to stay put. It's gonna be negotiated out. And this watermark attorney, the attorney Nashep, they don't want to negotiate out, and I hired the attorney, my attorney, to negotiate out, and he just to burn my retainer, $2,000, and then I got a bill for double the money, so I gotta let him go. Then I end up with a $6,000, and then I couldn't afford anymore. I cannot afford the attorney. And
let me ask you this question, Ms. Kim. You said in November you believed you were behind $21,760. As of today, excuse me?
That's what Judge Kelleher the calculation. Because I've been paying $1,000.
Excuse me?
I've been paying $1,000 even though I don't have to. So I've been paying $1,000 according to the some hearing. They set the amount for $1,000 per month to pay, and then it's only $1,388, so it's about $388, and then it's about the same. I pay for the UCG and whatever the legal term for the apartment. Now
you're referring to use and occupancy. How much do you think you're behind as of today?
As of today, it's about $21,760 plus or minus. It depends on how much they're gonna take off the. It depends on the judge gonna take off the condition of this unit, water damages, and then black mold is spreading. I complain of it. I show it to the lawyer of the watermark, Mr. The attorney Nashep. He know about it. He's been knowing about those several years already, more than a year, and they just say use bleach and clean it up. I did it, but it's the double more than the double. And then I have another place I have a black more, but I cannot present the evidence because free lawyers in housing court, they said it has to be the old one only. So I didn't present the new picture.
I see. So I see that's about your time. What else would you like to tell me? What else do you think it's important that I know?
I cannot pay the $2,345 per month with a $1,000 income, gross income. As per the 5/27/2021 memorandum of decision and order on motion, I've been paying $1,000, and I already paid $10,000 since June 2021, and I had to get a credit card loan of $25,000, and I'm using up that money, and I applied for another loan, and then they denied it because the percentage rate of debt is too high. So this is it. I can't get any more money. And the stipulation of the party, January 28th, was the total amount is $20,000. So I already paid $10,000. I recently offered additional $5,000. It should be mediated out, and the Justin Huang, the cosigner, is not part of this one. The opposing side, they just...
Go ahead. I'm going to hear from Mr. Huang next. Go ahead.
And then the worst thing is, throughout this case, they want me to stay here because the apartment in the MIT area, all the students, the school shut down at the time, and there was nobody was living in, almost empty. And the opposing side has been lying nonstop. That said, on resorting to any conceivable way to abuse, exploit the law to the fullest extent in order to cause as much damage to me as possible. At this time, they're not going to stop their relentless extortion racket against me and destroying my life. Now I'm going to be homeless. The opposing side is not going to giving me any other choice at this time, except to going to the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Okay, I think I understand. Thank you very much. I'm now going to turn to Mr. Huang. Is that how you pronounce your name, sir? Huang?
Justin Huang.
Mr. Huang, I'll hear from you, sir.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, I still think I should not be a dependent in this case because I was not served any notice from leasing office or presiding lawyer regarding this case. I didn't even know about this case.
So you understand, Mr. Huang, that this is a hearing on the waiver of the appeal bond. You understand what this hearing is about?
I understand that, but this is a kind of important things I would like to know. Okay, because I wasn't served with any notice from president side until Stella came to Los Angeles in last November with a November 12, 21 judgment. At the time, housing court clerk told Stella that I got a judgment against me.
Hold on, Ms. Kim traveled to LA in November?
Yes,
Is that what
after the judgment.
Hold on, Ms. Kim, you can't speak out. Your time has elapsed, and now I'm having a conversation with Mr. Huang. Do you understand?
Yes, just I got a
Hold
judgment.
on,
Oh, yeah,
hold
yeah,
on.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Ms. Kim, so don't speak out. Mr. Huang,
Okay.
did you just tell me that Ms. Kim traveled to LA in November? Is that what I heard you say?
Yes.
Okay. And let me ask you this, sir. Did you sign the lease?
Did I sign this long time ago?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you ever live in the apartment?
Never. I never been in Massachusetts. I'm
Okay.
living in Los Angeles. I'm practicing in Los Angeles.
You're a dentist, is that correct, sir?
Yes, I'm still working as a dentist. Okay, continue. At that time, housing court clerk told Stella that I needed to respond to November 12, 21 judgment. At that time, I knew what happened. Your Honor, how could we be a dependent without receiving any notice about this case? And then I review November 12 statement. I reviewed February 11 this year statement. According to November 12, 21 statement, second page in the middle, saying in October 19, 2020, Miranda Chu, assistant property manager, served the dependents, Stella and me, with the notice to quit for non-payment of rent, Exhibit 2, but I did not receive it.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Wong. Have you paid any rent?
Never.
Well, you signed a lease to pay rent, correct?
I just signed as a co-signer. At that time, Stella herself, he not be able to be accepted.
I understand.
Apply
And so,
for the.
and so you understand that as a co-signer.
I understand what's mean of a co-signer. What I'm
Okay.
saying is, I was not served with any notice from the plaintiff side regarding this case.
How did you know to be here today?
Today,
Yes.
I already told you, Honor, Stella came to Los Angeles in November last year
Yeah.
with the November 12, 21 judgment.
Yes.
At that time, I knew that. And also, as I say, housing court clerk told Stella told me that I needed to respond to November 12, 21 judgment because I got a judgment against me, right? So I needed to respond to November 12, 21 judgment. Another thing, according to February 11, 2022 judgment, page 2, plaintiff argued that the addresses on the list was the last place of adobo. Adobo means residency, right? But they knew my location in Los Angeles. But I think they intentionally didn't deliver any notice to me. I don't know why they didn't deliver any notice about this case to me. I wasn't in Massachusetts, okay? I'm in Los Angeles, but plaintiff was supposed to send any notice about this case. They didn't. I don't know why they didn't. They intentionally tried to make me in default by for not replying. I'm very curious.
Okay.
According, Your Honor, let me show you one other thing. This is very important.
I see you have about 2 minutes left. Anything else you'd like to say before I turn to Attorney Nechev?
Your Honor, you know,
I can't hear you, sir. You have to speak into your mic.
yeah, for regular.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
My name here, my home address is Los Angeles, my work address is Los Angeles. They knew my location. But they
So-
did not solve any notice. Why they don't solve any notice? Intentionally. Make me default for not replying.
Maybe if you put the document down, I could hear you clearer before. I can't hear you as clearly anymore, Mr. Wong. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
I heard very well, very clearly.
Okay, I can hear you again now.
Yeah. They knew my location.
Put the document down, sir. I can't hear you when you hold the document up.
Oh, okay. So according to the rental application form, which I signed on June 22, 2017, I clearly wrote down my home address.
So don't lean in. I can't hear you, sir. Lean back again.
Okay.
There you go. Speak from there, please.
So the leasing office, attorney, they knew my location in Los Angeles, my residence address, my work address is here in the form.
So, Mr. Wang, I'm having difficulty hearing you, so I'm going to ask you to put the document down. Put it
Okay.
down.
Okay.
Okay. And now just speak from there.
Okay. So what I'm saying is they knew my location in Los Angeles, my
Okay.
residence address, my work address. But until I received November 12 judgment, I didn't know what was going on there.
I understand. I think I
Why
get the
why did you not solve any notice about this case?
I got it. I think I get the gist of your argument. Is there anything else you'd like to say in summation?
Yes, another thing regarding bond. I don't even understand how $63,642 large amount came out on February 11 judgment. It's impossible for me to pay such amount of a bond because my current financial situation has gone worse since COVID pandemic started in dental office business. Right now, I barely retain my business under government loan, EIDL. Another thing is, I submit the affidavit of
Put the document down.
I submit the affidavit of indigence regarding our last 1 year, but last 2 months, the situation has changed. My income is down. And then, okay, last 2 months, I update this document. Income after tax minus expense is minus $114. I just updated this one. The one I submit before, my income was $11,833, but last 2 months, my income is monthly income is $8,000. After tax, my total income after tax $6,346. Okay, and then income after tax minus expenses, net income item number C, minus $114. I cannot afford to pay the bond $63,000, $642. I don't even have any other reserve money. How can I afford it? This is a second issue. First issue, I understand that we are discussing about the bond today, but as I say, first issue I mentioned, I still think I should not be a dependent in this
I understand. Listen, Mr. Huang, I understand. You need not repeat yourself, okay? I got it.
Okay.
That's okay. I'm now going to turn to Attorney Netchev.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd just first like to start out by saying this was brought as just a non-payment of rent case back in November of 2020.
Did you notice, Mr. Huang?
November 20?
No, Mr. Huang, your time has elapsed. Please don't speak out again. I'm now talking to Attorney Netchev. Mr. Netchev, did you send a notice to Mr. Huang?
Yes, Mr. Huang and Ms. Kim were both served at their last and usual place of abode, which was the apartment in Cambridge.
Okay, and when was that?
That was in November of 20, I apologize. It was prior to November, July or August of 2020, before commencing the case.
Okay.
To Mr. Huang's point with the application, every resident that lists an address on an application has a different address than what they're hoping to get when they move into the apartment. The instant they're approved and sign a lease, and incidentally, Mr. Huang did not sign the lease as a co-signer. He signed the lease as a resident. Stella Kim and Justin Huang signed the lease as residents. At that point, Mr. Huang's last and usual place of abode became the apartment address. My client has no idea how long, for what time period, or if Mr. Huang or Ms. Kim lived in that apartment. The fact remains they remain in possession of the apartment today. The case was heard fully on the merits. It's apparent from what Ms. Kim stated that she's had communications with Mr. Huang throughout the course of the litigation, which is a 1.5 years old now. Ms. Kim at trial presented evidence with respect to her alleged black mold, which was just undated pictures, which the court took, seeing as how she was pro se, took as that she can't testify as to what the substance was, but she can testify to what she saw, what she smelled. They took that into consideration. The alleged unnamed neighbor that was causing issues, they also took that into consideration. It was a full trial on the merits, and the court rendered a judgment for possession and money damages in favor of my client. At that time, Ms. Kim filed a notice of appeal, which was heard. As Your Honor knows, under 239, Section 5, it's a two-pronged test. They have to determine that the tenants are indigent, and if they are indigent, that they have a defense that is non-frivolous to on appeal. In this case, initially, the housing court essentially took the indigency aspect of the case together with Mr. Huang and Ms. Kim. They then separated it out. Seeing as how Mr. Huang was a practicing dentist as to what he testified to on the motion to waive the appeal bond, they found him not to be indigent, and they found Ms. Kim to be indigent. Either way, the court addressed the second prong of the test, which was non-frivolous defenses, which the court found that they did not have. Ms. Kim just simply disagrees with the court's decision. That's not a non-frivolous defense. I would request that the appeal bond be, the lower court, the housing court's appeal bond be upheld, considering that under 239 section 5, it clearly states that the appeal bond shall be one with sufficient surety approved by the court in a reasonable amount to be fixed by the court. Seeing as how, as of today, admittedly, both Ms. Kim and Mr. Huang are still in possession of the apartment, the sufficient surety would be the judgment amount plus any future use and occupancy that becomes due and owing during the pendency of this appeal, should they be able to pay the money. But this is a straightforward appeal bond hearing that took place after multiple delays, and the court essentially stated it's going to be the judgment amount that we found after a full trial on the merits, plus any future use and occupancy, given the fact that they are still in possession of the apartment. With respect to Ms. Kim's statement that she was paying $1,000, that was an interim order back during the pendency of the action on a completely unrelated matter when we challenged her CDC declaration that she had filed, and the court under the CDC moratorium, which stated that a tenant needs to pay as close to the full amount, make good faith monthly payments as close to the full amount of the contract rent as possible. That is what that interim order was, but that was an interim order pending the trial. That was not a valuation of what the apartment was worth.
When do you believe the moratorium expired?
The CDC moratorium?
That's what you're referring to as far as her payments?
Correct. So the CDC moratorium expired in 2020. I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but it expired way before the trial was had in November. It was, I believe, May or June of that year. She continued to make the payments. And when I say that year, I apologize. I mean 2021. She continued to make the $1,000 payments, and she's set that that is the fair monthly value, where in actuality, the judge at that hearing just made a determination to pay as close to the full amount as possible. Not, this is some sort of evaluation based on evidence presented of what the apartment is actually worth.
What do you think the full amount of rent is today?
That the total amount that's owed, or what the monthly rent is?
The monthly rent.
The monthly rent currently is $3,388. It's the.
I thought I read a letter that was from your side that said it was $2,368 or something.
So there was, the way the lease agreement works, and it's in the
I understood that it was going to be $2,368, and then it was going to automatically renew at a higher rate of 33 or something like that. I understand that, but I thought I saw a letter in the papers when it came time to renew the lease that said that it was going to be, hang on one second, $2,866 per month.
So that is what, and I don't know exactly which letter you're referring to, but that is what the apartment, when I believe the housing court asked my client what the fair market value of that apartment was if somebody were to rent it at the date of the hearing. So being as how it was conducted via Zoom, my client was able to access what that type of apartment is listed for as of that date, which was that 2,600 and the number that your honor listed. That's what that apartment,
2,866, which seems to be from a document from you dated May 27th, 2020.
I'm sorry, I don't have that document in front of me, but so I can't really speak as to that, but that would be if Your Honor said it correctly, if I heard it correctly, 2,800 and
66 per month. It seems as though the letter said, if we do not hear from you prior to your lease expiration date, we will assume that you have chosen to extend your stay on a month-to-month basis, and your new monthly rent will be the month-to-month rate listed above, 2,866, effective August 17th, 2021.
so at that point, that's a letter that my client sends out as it's what it is essentially an offer of renewal to the defendant stating, if you wish to renew for a fixed term lease agreement, whether it's 12 months, 10 months, 8 months, these are the rates. If you don't, you will renew at the then existing market rent, which they listed above. However, the lease contract was the $2,388 plus the $1,000 month-to-month premium at that point. So that was the offer of renewal that they give them the option to renew. Subsequently, they did not accept that offer of renewal and they stopped paying rent right around that time period. So as I stated, Your Honor, they clearly do not meet both prongs of the test, whether it's Mr. Huang, who was determined not to be indigent, and even if he were determined to be indigent, he has no non-frivolous defenses on appeal because as far as my client knew, that was the last and usual place of abode, and Ms. Kim clearly has no non-frivolous defenses. She simply just disagrees with the court's decision. She had the benefit of a full trial on the merits of the case and had an opportunity to present whatever evidence she chose to present.
I think I understand the respective positions. Unless you have anything final you'd like to say, Attorney Netchep, I'm going to conclude this hearing and I'll take the matter under advisement.
I have nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you so much for your time.
J 0100 57 Walnut LLC versus Joseph Pierre and others.
Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Pierre, this is a hearing on your motion to waive the appeal bond. What do you believe that figure to be today? The amount of the bond that you're looking to waive?
The amount of the bond that I was looking to waive. Oh, I don't have all the other file. I think I thought I put that on paper and how much everything was. I don't have all this information with me at the moment right now.
That's okay. You go ahead and make your argument. I'll listen to what you have to tell me.
You know, at this time, you know, to the pandemic, you know, time situation was really tough, and I was I'm in a situation that with a previous landlord that I was paying my rent with the previous landlord, and the building happened to be sold to a different management, and at the time that it was no notice that anything like that was happening, and they had put me in a bond situation that I had to move right away during the pandemic, which I feel like that wasn't fair. It wasn't right, and I have time in the right amount of time to find myself a place to live comfortably.
So hold on 1 second. Let me just ask you, when they sold the building to the new landlord,
yes,
they didn't automatically increase your rent, did they?
I didn't know they didn't increase the rate. I didn't know anything about the new landlord until I bumped into someone into the building that they told me that was going on. I never knew from the previous landlord, and there was no introduction to the new landlord until I happened to bump into the new landlord in the yard. Someone, and I began to ask, you know, who was in the yard. Then that I knew that it was a new landlord situation. Then when I
go ahead.
When I tried to exchange, you know, information with the new landlord, and during the first month, you know, I didn't know what was going on. And,
so who did you pay? So who did you pay the rent to the first month?
The first month of the new landlord situation?
Yes.
I paid toward the new landlord.
You paid it to the new landlord?
Yes, just for my room. That was it's a room that I was renting.
How
from
did
the
you get it? How did you get it to the landlord? How'd you get the money to the landlord?
I give it cash to him. He come, someone come to pick it. I forgot the guy's name from. It's a group management, and someone came to pick it up, and they gave me a $700 receipt for the room. But afterward, you know, I was the month after, couple
Yeah.
of months back, I trying to get in contact with them. I never got in contact with anyone until I received paper that I have to move out the building.
And so when you couldn't reach anybody, what did
Yeah.
you do with the monthly rent?
And you know, I was not making much at the time. I have my kids school loan. I had to deal with that. I had to help them stay in school. It's my decision to make that decision. But at that time that, I came to spend the money toward my to help keep my son in school. That's the decision that I made as a parent. I understand the fact that I didn't have the money at the time. And I approached another situation with them. I was trying to get help from the Massachusetts rental health department. And they sent me a situation that for them to apply in send me a W-9 form and give me a ledger of how much I owe them for me to send to them. They refused to give me that. And they told me, and when I called the department, they told me that they would have to give me that. I had to give that department their management number to get in contact with them. I still don't know that if they received the W-9 form or not in the ledger to see that if they can help me with what I owe them.
I see. So what do you think you owe?
I think I owe them around $5,000, honestly. Let me see.
It appears to me that as of the date of the trial, which was in December, you owed $5,600, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. And so I understand that you said you had some competing financial
Yes.
interest, and so you
Yes.
elected not to pay the rent in order to help pay for your child's school. Is that what I understood you to
Yes.
say?
That's what I did. That's what I did, honestly, to keep
Okay.
my firstborn in school.
All right. And in one of the documents I read, it said that you wanted more time to find a new apartment. Have you found a new apartment?
Yeah. What happened? I'm in a situation right now. I'm supposed to be moving in with this apartment to be ready on the next in the first, supposed to be the next month of the first, but still I'm not getting anything yet on that apartment. There's a delay. There's a delay on that. There's a little delay on that. And I'm honestly, I will have to, like we in March 11, and I will have to the end of April. I'll be able to vacate myself from this apartment.
Right, but okay. So as I understand it, you're making about $800 every couple of weeks?
Which I drive to Uber and Lyft. It's up. That's before taxes and all other expenses.
Okay. And what other expenses do you have?
I have vehicle expenses, insurance expenses, and I have my son's school loan that I'm trying to get back and maintain him in previous school loan of mine, and I still deal with my children even though they're older.
How old are they?
And one of them is 20s in school, goes to Virginia University, and I have another one that's about to be 20 in a couple of days this month, and he's in school as well. I have my daughter that's young, that's in school as well, and I have an
daughter
adopted
that's young. How old is she?
She's 12.
But she doesn't live with you.
They don't live with me. That don't mean that I don't have to support them.
I understand. I was just inquiring that she live with you.
Yes. I'm just asking for that little time to find somewhere, put myself together to move.
I understand, but I mean, I'm going to hear from the other side, but nobody gets to live for free. You understand that, right?
I understand that. That's what I was trying to get that W-9 form from them to get with the department to help me to see that it could help me with the rent system.
Okay, and so what's the status of that today?
The status of that today, I've not received anything about that yet, because when I spoke to the management, they didn't want to give me the W-9 or the ledger for me to send to them. So I had to give them, I give both parties each other's number. I don't know if they did the effort to get in contact with each other. I'm still waiting for an email.
Right, but the obligation's on you. Let me ask you this: when you say the other side, do you mean Mr. Donnelly, or who are you referring to?
Referring to the management and referring to Massachusetts Health Rental Department that's trying to help me with the rent system.
Gotcha. All right.
Well,
Anything else you'd like me to know?
That's all. You know, if I have to owe them to pay them their money, I just have to work and pay them the money. I'm not trying to cheat anybody off of living free of anything.
I understand.
You know, and it just happened to be it's a time for me right now. I'm not trying to run away from that situation.
I understand. Okay. Let me hear from the other side.
Thank you.
Mr. Donnelly.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
So I understand that Mr. Pierre is here today, not represented by counsel. So I think some of his presentation didn't necessarily go directly to his appeal to waive the denial of his motion to waive the appeal bond. Insofar as the Judge Kelleher's order from the housing court of January 24, 2022, after hearing, I think is correct and proper under the law and the case law. In applying the two-prong approach under Tamber v. DeRocher's 45 Mass App 234, he addressed both whether or not and the court was satisfied that the defendant was not indigent and that he did not have a non-frivolous appeal. I mean, frivolous claims brought in the summary process case, which, Your Honor, the summary process case was brought for termination of tenancy at will, not for non-payment of rent. The judge found that based on Mr. Pierre's representations, that he was earning $800 per week from various jobs, not every other week, but $800 per week, and that he did not meet the indigency standard of Chapter 261, Section 27A. In addition, he had not filed an answer or counterclaims in the summary process case. He didn't contest the testimony about the amount of rent that was owed or use and occupancy. And so his request to have the appeal bond waived was properly denied.
Anything additionally?
No, Your Honor. I think the record speaks for itself.
Okay, I think I understand the respective positions. Thank you very much. The matter is submitted. I will take it under advisement.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.